Welcome to For the Love of Books, a podcast by North Lanarkshire Libraries. Hi everyone, welcome back to the North Lanarkshire Libraries podcast For the Love of Books. My name is Chris Wilson, E-Services Librarian, and for today's episode of the podcast, we are going to be joined by a couple of special guests. They are the two Disability Information Officers for North Lanarkshire Council, and it is Kirsten and Debbie, and they will going to be telling us all about their role as Disability Information Officers and what support they can offer North Lanarkshire's communities. And also they're going to be highlighting to us a fantastic web resource called Making Life Easier. They have been visiting some of our libraries recently promoting that, and this is a bit of a second chance for you guys to catch up with that information if you've not already caught it. Do check the description below for all the information you might need for it if you think it's something that you might find useful to use on yourself, and find out a little bit more about it from Debbie and Kirsten now. So welcome to our podcast, guys. We've got you on because you have been coming about our libraries kind of promoting Making Life Easier, which is a website that has been up and running to kind of offer support. And this is a bit of a second chance for any of our listeners to kind of catch that information that you guys have been passing out in our libraries if they've missed any kind of visits and stuff like that. So I thought I would start off with finding out a little bit more about you guys. So Kirsten and Debbie, would you want to fill us out a little bit more about your roles as disability information officers and what kind of what does that role entail, and what are the benefits for it to the North Lanarkshire community? So Kirsten, do you want to kind of start off and give us a wee bit?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Kirsten Scott, and I'm a Disability Information Officer for North Lanarkshire Council. So we sit under Health and Social Care. The role is really broad. Often people don't know where to turn first. So the way that we like to kind of describe ourselves to people that we meet in the community is that if you don't know who to call about a certain issue relating to the council, relating to your health, then we're often a good first point of contact.
Yeah. And
we can then direct you on. Debbie will obviously fill in the gaps if I miss anything in a moment. She's really good at that. But what does it mean? Well, we provide support and advice to members of the public. So anyone who lives in North Lanarkshire, we can help. We help them with issues relating to disability, to being a carer, anything to do with housing, perhaps if they're experiencing financial hardship. We can also take direct referrals into different teams within the council. So we can directly refer into social work or into perhaps our sensory impairment team. And we can also link in with other organisations, so charitable organisations, local carer groups, etc. So that's Disability Information Officer. Have I missed anything, Debbie? What do you think?
No, you've got it right, Kirsten. Basically, we just try and find the support that matters to that person, especially when we're at the libraries. People come up and ask us, and we just try and point them in the right direction. Basically, just what Kirsten says, we signpost them to, organisations, charitable organisations, within the council as well, each department. So, yep.
Yeah, and that kind of information can be really helpful to people, because sometimes whenever you're in that kind of situation where you need that support, and it's quite hard to kind of find where you need to go to get it. So having you guys as a kind of point of call kind of thing to kind of really know where to direct people is something that I'm sure many people find really, really valuable. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. So people, sorry, just to butt in there, so people can contact us via our email and telephone numbers. So even if you would like to kind of promote that on the podcast just so folk can, get in touch with us, that would be really appreciated.
Yeah, we can put that in the description of the podcast. Brilliant. So if anyone does need it to get in contact with Kirsten or Debbie or any of the kind of the team there, they can get in contact with them using that, and we'll include that in it for Deb, for sure. Chris. Kirsten, I did think it would be worthwhile pointing out at this point that you are not, this isn't the first time being on our podcast, because you have been involved in one of our previous podcasts before, haven't you? And I obviously didn't scare you off. You wanted to come back on and talk about your new role. So you previously were one of North Lanarkshire's school librarians, and you've moved into this position.
Yes.
How has that kind of changeover been for you?
Yeah, it's been a real learning curve. I've been a disability information officer for just over a year now. And before that, for 14 years, I was one of the council's school librarians. So as I was kind of saying earlier, the information officer part of it came much more easily than the disability part of it, because I came into health and social care with zero knowledge about health and social care. So it's been a real learning curve, and I've really leaned on my colleagues like Debbie and our resource worker Carol Blades for help, because they've got way more experience than I have. But it has been a real challenge, but a fun one actually. So I'm really glad that this is where my career has taken me. So it's a second career. But yeah, I reached out to you about this, so you definitely didn't put me off. I knew you were the man to speak to in regards to podcasts and and promoting making life easier in our roles. So thanks very much for having me back and for giving us this opportunity.
Not a problem. And it's good for us to kind of have that kind of second opportunity as well, to kind of promote the fact that you're visiting the libraries and things like that.
Absolutely.
And and that people can kind of catch that information now on the podcast in a different way as well, which is fantastic. And one of the things, the main thing that you've been promoting, I would imagine, in libraries as well as some of the other stuff, has been the Making Life Easier website, which we've got a link to now on our e-reference page on our website. So if you do want to find it, you can find it on there. Although you guys no doubt will know the exact URL to pass out if you want to mention it. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of the type of support that people might find if they are visiting that website and try to use that service? Debbie, do you want to kind of fill us in a wee bit with that?
Of course. So Making Life Easier is an online resource tool for self-assessing for equipment. You can access information for local classes within North Lanarkshire information as well. So the information includes mental health, carers information, keeping healthy and safe, and it also includes our ADL life curve as well. Kirsten, do you want to explain the life curve?
The life curve, Life curve is it's a tool that was developed by our partners that developed the website as a whole, which is www.makinglifeeasier.org.uk. So the life curve is part of that, and it's a series of questions relating to your health and your well-being and your ability level, and depending on the way that you answer the questions, it will plot you on a graph on your life curve. So I'm 43, but if I answered the questions in a certain way, it could plot me as older, depending on how I answer them. The first question is, can you go hill walking? And it goes all the way down to, can you feed yourself independently, and everything in between? Because we actually start aging at 42. We start deteriorating at 42 in our age. So I've already started deteriorating. So, so how I answer it plots me on the graph, and it gives you advice on how to improve your life curve. So say, for instance, I answered it and it brought me out as a life curve age of 50. It would then give me advice and tips on how to improve my mobility, exercising, healthy eating. It would give me a social prescription, really. So it's interesting. It can sometimes be a bit scary using the life curve, but it's a really good place to start.
I could imagine that would be quite an eye-opener a little bit, and the fact that you've just mentioned that you started the teaching at 42, that's made me start thinking I've only got about a year and a half left to go. So
there's still time, Chris. There's still time. Get out hill walking.
That sounds really, really interesting, and that would be a kind of really interesting thing to kind of see, and it's quite a visual thing as well to kind of
It's a visual thing. it appears on screen. Once you answer the questions, it takes a few seconds to kind of calibrate all your responses, and then it'll plot you on the life curve. And from there, you're either doing really well, because sometimes you're not on the life curve. If you're a super fit person who's healthy and does all the right things that we should all be doing, you won't actually appear on life curve because it starts at 42. But if you are someone who's quite sedentary, doesn't move about a lot, and maybe eats unhealthily, you've got too high a BMI, then you will perhaps be older than your biological age. So at that point, it intervenes and gives you, as I said, some advice and tips on how to improve your life curve.
Well, I might take a little look at that. I'm not sure
Yes,
I'll reveal my
please.
answers later, what it comes out in.
Let us know.
We'll see. Fantastic. Now we were talking obviously prior to the podcast about sort of some of the stuff that you guys do, and am I right in thinking there's kind of a bit of a link between the Making Life Easier and the equipment and adaptation service for providing sort of essential equipment for those that might need it and things like that?
Yes, that's right.
So
do you want to take that one, Debbie? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So yeah, we support and work with occupational therapists because the waiting times are so lengthy at the moment.
Yeah.
So Making Life Easier, the website helps cut down the waiting times for anyone that just may require small pieces of equipment such as a shower chair or a bath board, grab rails. So the self-assessment tool on Making Life Easier, it's got a set of questions for each areas, such as, the bathroom, the kitchen, the stairs, inside and outside. So it's got a questionnaire, and once you answer all the questions at the end, it will match you with a piece of equipment that may help you. And this then goes over to the equipment adaptations, the order, and the admin at the stores print it off, and basically the drivers or the technicians will deliver this free of charge from North Lanarkshire Council, or the person can pick it up from the stores as well. If it's just a simple shower chair or something small. So
that
that's pretty much
fantastic.
it.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And so really the kind of name of the website, Making Life Easier, really is what it says in the tin, really. It is all about simply trying to kind of make people's life a bit easier and giving them all the kind of resources and tools they really need to kind of do that.
Yeah. Well, we all know about the long waiting lists in health and social care. So if you have a minor need and your condition isn't complex, but you're just needing something that will help you stay as independent as possible at home for as long as possible, then rather than joining a waiting list to see a social worker or contacting your GP, etc., as part of the council's digital first approach, Making Life Easier slots in, and it helps you to get that help much quicker.
Yeah, and it sounds fantastic. It's really a really great thing. And as we mentioned earlier, you just have been out and about kind of promoting it in some of our libraries. Have you found that as a kind of really useful way of getting the sort of word out there about the website and how to kind of folk can access stuff?
Yeah, well, I love being in the library. So as soon as we were putting together a communication plan, we thought straight away link up with the libraries in each of the main town centres, and we're hoping to reach out to the smaller branch libraries in the future as well. So we reached out to each of the librarians in the main town libraries, and we've got like a programme of visits that are either monthly or bi-monthly. It's the best place to kind of meet people who perhaps are coming into the space and are looking for information, whether it's a book or they're printing something out or they're looking for some advice. So we have our own little stall with all of our kind of our promo items, and we have some examples of equipment that they could get, and we're just happy to talk to anyone and everyone and see if we can offer them the right support.
Yeah. Oh,
And
sorry.
no, you go. What were you going to say, David?
I was just going to say, so Kirsten covers Motherwell, Wishaw, Bells Hill, and I cover Cumbernauld, Coatbridge and Airdrie.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we've kind of split the areas because it's North Lanarkshire's large. It's
Yeah,
you realise how big it
there's
is. I know.
It's a very big area, so it's great to kind of have a kind of sort of different contacts for different places and things like that.
Yeah.
And as you said, the kind of plans to kind of keep that kind of rollout of visits going. Is there any particular dates or anything like that confirmed yet, or is that still to kind of be worked out?
Yeah, I can give you my next dates. I'm actually in Motherwell Library this Wednesday. And then I'll be in Wishaw and Bells Hill in December. So I think I'm in Bells Hill Library on the 19th of December, and when I'm in Wishaw, and I'm in Wishaw on the 8th of December.
Fantastic. So basically, if you're in any of our libraries, watch out for any of this kind of stalls.
Please.
And look at. I think you'll probably these have kind of like sort of banners and things like that kind of stuff to kind of highlight who you are and things as you come in. So watch out for the kind of banners if you do visit, and catch up with Kirsten and Debbie if you happen to see them in the library, and they'll enjoy a wee chat with you and then pass on the information that you need for the stuff there and stuff. Now, one of the things that I thought we can bring up as well for the podcast is that we are kind of in the middle of a month-long awareness raising month that's quite important for you guys, which is Disability History Month, and I believe that kind of runs from roughly about the 16th of November to the 16th of December.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and why it's kind of significant for you guys at this time?
Absolutely, it was really timely that you scheduled this for this point in time, because it does coincide with the Disability History Month. We of course work with a lot of residents within North Lanarkshire who have a disability, minor and major, and it's really important that as disability information officers that we try our best to bring about positive change about how we think and we view impairment and disablement, because it does still, even in 2023, carry a lot of stigma. And myself and Debbie have been doing a lot of training recently about the stigma that these types of conditions have for people and how difficult that makes it, and we're also about to train to be equality and diversity champions for the council as well, so we're really excited about that. But it's really about trying to bring or destigmatise disability, and bring about some positive change so that those that are experiencing a disability are not as isolated and are treated more fairly, more equally, regardless of what's happening in their life, and they can access services as easily as possible. So thanks very much for having us on to talk about Disability History Month.
No, you're very welcome, and I mean that all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's something that everyone should kind of do automatically, but it is also good to have kind of sort of that awareness of reason month that kind of really highlights it a little bit and stuff. So that it's been great to kind of find out more about the sort of making life easier website from you guys and a little bit about your role and things like that sort of stuff. But I thought I would round off our little chat today by kind of find out a little bit about if you guys have been reading anything recently. And now, Debbie, I don't know if you're much of a reader, so I'm sorry if I'm throwing you into the deep end here a little bit. But I'm pretty sure Kirsten, being a previous librarian, is still kind of reading away at every opportunity possible. Yep. So is there any books that have been really caught your eye and keeping you going at the moment and really kind of keep me awake at night as you read too many pages and things like that? So, Kirsten, what have you been reading recently?
Well, this year I've been reading the Kingsbridge series by Ken Follett. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Chris. Probably the most famous one is Pillars of the Earth. I believe they made a couple into TV series, so they're quite lengthy.
I was going to say those are like
big,
epic books,
but they're really easy reads. They're written in such a way where you just totally blast through them. And the first one in particular, Pillars of the Earth, is absolutely fantastic. It's about the building of a cathedral, which you think, what? But trust me, there's so much drama that goes on in Kingsbridge, which is where the cathedral's being built, and it's about all the characters and about the time, because it's set in the 12th century, which is a period of history that I didn't know much about, so that was really good. So I spent a lot of time this year reading those, and recently the book that blew me away the most was Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. It's kind of prequel to Jane Eyre. Brilliant. Oh, okay. Highly recommend that. Very different from Jane Eyre, but it deals with the first Mrs. Rochester, the one that was mad before she went mad, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Well, something just came into my head there. I'm just thinking that obviously you used to previously be a school librarian, as we talked about. Has your reading changed a little bit since you've kind of changed the role?
No, not really.
Are you reading kind of any different kind of books now? You're not kind of a school librarian?
No, I read young adult fiction prior to being a school librarian. I read it throughout, and I still read it. I love all that, and I still read a mix of classics and a mix of kind of contemporary fiction. So not really. It's I probably don't talk about reading as much as I used to. And books, etc. But no, my reading habits haven't really changed. No.
I'm just something that came into my head there. Just I was thinking about.
I don't know what that says about me.
I think it's just one of those things. I find it difficult to kind of pigeonhole what I read most as well.
Yeah.
Like, I can read quite a wide variety of things as well. Debbie, what were you saying? Are you much of a reader, Debbie? Do you enjoy reading a book?
Well, I'm a mother, so I'm very busy with my wee girl, Callie. So her favourite book is The Tiger Who Came to Tea with Judith Kerr. So she likes reading that. So that's what we do at night. We sit and we read nursery books and things. So yep.
Yeah, I totally get that. I've got a little 2-year-old as well, and I don't know how many times in the last month I have read Barry the Fish with Fingers over and over and over again. But it's a fantastic book. So I have said since I've had my 2 little ones, I do think my reading habits have turned mostly to picture books more than anything else. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I absolutely love picture books.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are some fantastic ones out there. And I think as kind of a library staff member, kind of whenever you kind of get the new books, it's one of the things that really catches your eye most whenever you're opening up new books is the picture books, and you kind of flick through and see all the kind of new pictures and the illustrations and stuff. So that's fantastic. So thank you very much, guys, for coming and talking to us.
Thank you for having us.
And throwing out some book recommendations at the end there. So that's fantastic as well. And hopefully your visits to the libraries will go well in future and things like that. And thank you again for coming along.
Thanks very much, Chris. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So there you go, guys. Hopefully that was really helpful for anyone who might need some of the information that Kirsten and Debbie can supply for you. Do check the details below and the description below for their contact details if it's something you think that you might need to get in contact with them to find out a little bit more about. And also watch out for future visits from them in some of our libraries as well, because they will be able to kind of pass on that information personally to you as well in our libraries if you do catch them at one of their little stalls. Now, For some library service updates, we do have a couple of quite interesting things happening over the next sort of little while. We have got some fantastic Christmas at the Memory Room dates happening at Airdrie Library. If you haven't seen the Memory Room at Airdrie Library, it is definitely worth going along to have a look at. And we have got some special kind of Christmas little events happening in the Memory Room area on Mondays, on the Mondays in December, Monday the 4th, 11th and 18th at 2 p.m. You can come along and listen to some Christmas stories and music and reminisce about Christmases past, and enjoy a little cup of tea with some good company in Airdrie Library. And another little interesting thing happening in Airdrie Library as well is throughout the winter months, they also have the Observatory winter evenings as well. If you didn't know, Airdrie Library is the home of Airdrie Observatory, which is a really fantastic resource. It's quite a unique resource for Airdrie Library to have, and they will be hoping to have as many people come along to the winter openings evenings there as well. You can check that out. There's a section on our website for the Airdrie Observatory, and you can find out all the dates that are available for them on there. So go and check that out if it's something you might find interesting to come along to. And like I say, it is quite a unique resource that not many libraries in the whole of UK have got, and it's something that's right on most of our doorsteps here in Airdrie, that you can come and visit and see, and it's a fantastic thing especially if you have got an interest in astronomy as well. It's definitely kind of worth checking that out and coming along to see that quite historic little gem that's hidden away in the Airdrie Library. That's all for us for now, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast, and we will be back again soon. Do watch out for the next Bees Books edition coming out next week, and we will be back again in the very, very near future. Bye for now, guys.